The gleaming packages line every grocery store shelf, promising vitality and longevity through carefully crafted messages about heart health and natural goodness. Behind these promises lies an industry worth hundreds of billions, built on exporting high-margin products to consumers who trust that what grows from trees must inherently benefit their bodies. This assumption becomes particularly dangerous for those who have crossed the threshold of 65 years, when the body processes nutrients in fundamentally different ways than it did in younger decades. Marketing departments understand precisely which words resonate with older adults seeking to maintain their independence and health. They print phrases about protein content and healthy fats on packages while remaining silent about the compounds that accumulate differently in aging kidneys or the way certain nuts interact with medications commonly prescribed to seniors. The disconnect between what sells and what actually serves the health needs of older bodies has created a situation where well-intentioned dietary choices become silent saboteurs of well-being. Consider how metabolism shifts after the sixth decade of life. The digestive system slows its processing speed, allowing certain compounds more time to bind with minerals in ways that younger bodies would quickly flush out. Kidney function naturally declines by approximately 1% each year after age 40, meaning that by 70, the filtration system operates at roughly 70% of its peak capacity. This reduction changes everything about how the body handles oxalates, purines, and other naturally occurring compounds found in foods marketed as universally healthy. The liver, too, undergoes significant changes with age. Its ability to produce enzymes that break down toxins diminishes, while the cellular regeneration that once happened effortlessly now proceeds at a fraction of its former pace. These changes mean that substances which posed no threat in middle age can accumulate to problematic levels when consumed regularly in later years. The same handful of nuts that provided quick energy at 50 might trigger inflammation and fatigue at 70. Among the most problematic choices for older adults are cashews, those smooth, crescent-shaped nuts that appear in premium mixed selections and gourmet recipes. Their creamy texture and mild flavor mask a concerning concentration of oxalates, compounds that bind aggressively with calcium in the body. When these bonds form, they create crystalline structures that the aging kidney struggles to process and eliminate. The mechanism unfolds slowly but relentlessly. Each serving of cashews introduces oxalates into a system already working harder to maintain mineral balance. As these compounds encounter calcium meant for bone maintenance or muscle function, they form insoluble crystals. In younger adults with robust kidney function, these crystals pass through without incident. But in seniors, whose nephrons have decreased in both number and efficiency, these crystals accumulate, forming the foundation of kidney stones. Research examining dietary patterns and kidney stone formation reveals that individuals consuming high oxalate foods regularly face significantly elevated risks, with the danger amplifying considerably after age 65. The pain associated with kidney stones represents only the immediate consequence. The longer-term damage to kidney tissue from repeated stone formation can accelerate the decline in filtration capacity, creating a downward spiral of decreasing function and increasing vulnerability to other health complications. A retired accountant named William discovered this connection after years of replacing his afternoon cookies with what he believed was a healthier option. He would measure out precisely 1 cup of cashews, convinced he was making a responsible choice for his cardiovascular health. The first kidney stone struck during a family reunion, sending him to the emergency room with pain he described as worse than any he had experienced in 7 decades of life. The urologist explained that his daily cashew habit, combined with inadequate hydration and natural age-related kidney changes, had created perfect conditions for stone formation. Beyond the oxalate concern, cashews present another challenge for seniors through their sodium content when purchased in their most common form. Roasted and salted cashews, the variety most readily available and frequently consumed, deliver significant sodium loads that aging cardiovascular systems struggle to process. Blood pressure regulation becomes increasingly delicate with age as arterial walls lose elasticity and the body becomes more sensitive to sodium fluctuations. The fat content in cashews, while including some beneficial monounsaturated varieties, still represents a considerable caloric density that becomes problematic when metabolism has slowed. A single ounce contains nearly 13 grams of fat and over 150 calories. For seniors whose daily caloric needs have decreased but whose nutrient requirements remain high or have even increased, these dense calories can displace more nutritionally valuable foods while contributing to weight gain that stresses joints and organs. Moving to an even more calorically dense option, macadamia nuts present themselves as a luxury item, often featured in premium chocolates and expensive gift baskets. Their buttery texture comes from an extraordinary fat content that exceeds 21 grams per ounce, making them one of the most fat-dense foods available. While food marketers emphasize the monounsaturated fat content, they rarely discuss what this concentration means for older adults whose metabolic rate has declined by 20 to 30% from their younger years. The relationship between macadamia consumption and metabolic syndrome in seniors follows a predictable pattern. The excessive calories from even modest portions contribute to abdominal fat accumulation, the type of adipose tissue that actively produces inflammatory compounds. These inflammatory markers interfere with insulin signaling, elevate blood pressure, and create a cascade of metabolic disruptions that become increasingly difficult to reverse with age. A retired nurse named Dorothy learned this lesson through gradual changes she initially attributed to normal aging. She had developed a habit of eating macadamia nuts while reading in the evening, enjoying their rich flavor and satisfying crunch. Over 18 months, she gained 12 pounds, primarily around her midsection. Her energy levels dropped dramatically, making her morning walks feel like mountain climbs. Blood work revealed prediabetic glucose levels and cholesterol readings that alarmed her physician. The transformation began when Dorothy eliminated macadamias from her evening routine, replacing them with a small portion of raw almonds. Within 4 months, her weight began dropping, her energy returned, and her metabolic markers improved significantly. The change seemed almost miraculous to her, but it simply reflected how profoundly the wrong dietary choices can impact aging bodies and how quickly the right adjustments can restore balance. The phosphorus content in macadamia nuts adds another layer of concern for seniors, particularly those with any degree of kidney impairment. Phosphorus requires precise regulation in the body, and when kidney function declines, excess phosphorus can accumulate, leading to calcium being pulled from bones to maintain balance. This process accelerates osteoporosis, already a significant risk for older adults, particularly women post-menopause. Furthermore, the specific fatty acid profile of macadamias, while including beneficial compounds, lacks the omega-3 fatty acids that provide anti-inflammatory benefits crucial for aging bodies. Instead, they deliver primarily omega-6 fatty acids, which in excess can promote inflammation. The modern diet already skews heavily toward omega-6 consumption, and adding macadamias only worsens this imbalance at a time when controlling inflammation becomes essential for maintaining cognitive function, joint health, and cardiovascular stability. The processing methods used for commercially available macadamias often involve high-temperature roasting that creates advanced glycation end products, compounds that accelerate aging at the cellular level. These molecules trigger inflammatory responses and oxidative stress, contributing to the development of cataracts, arterial stiffness, and cognitive decline. For seniors already facing these challenges, consuming foods that accelerate these processes represents a particularly poor dietary choice. Pecans occupy a special place in American culinary tradition, appearing in holiday pies, praline candies, and countless family recipes passed down through generations. This emotional connection to pecans makes it particularly difficult for seniors to accept that these nuts might be undermining their health goals. The reality remains that pecans deliver one of the highest caloric loads of any nut, with over 200 calories packed into a single ounce, barely enough to fill the palm of your hand. The inflammatory response triggered by regular pecan consumption in older adults stems from multiple factors working in concert. The high omega-6 fatty acid content promotes the production of inflammatory cytokines, chemical messengers that signal immune activation throughout the body. While some inflammation serves protective purposes, chronic low-grade inflammation accelerates virtually every age-related disease process, from arthritis to cardiovascular disease to neurodegeneration. The sugar content often added to commercially prepared pecans compounds these problems exponentially. Candied pecans, honey-roasted varieties, and praline-coated options transform an already problematic food into a metabolic disaster for seniors. Blood sugar spikes from these sweetened versions stress the pancreas, whose insulin-producing capacity has already declined with age. The resulting glucose fluctuations create oxidative stress that damages blood vessels, accelerates cognitive decline, and feeds inflammatory processes throughout the body. Harold, a 72-year-old retired engineer, had maintained a jar of candied pecans on his kitchen counter for years, viewing them as a healthier alternative to the cookies and candy he had given up. His rationalization seemed logical enough since nuts appeared on every list of healthy foods he encountered. Yet over 2 years, his weight increased by 15 pounds, his hemoglobin A1C levels crept into prediabetic range, and his cholesterol readings alarmed his physician enough to recommend medication. The transformation began when Harold replaced his pecan habit with measured portions of raw pistachios and walnuts. Within 6 months, he had shed 12 pounds without any other dietary changes, his blood sugar stabilized, and his energy levels improved dramatically. The afternoon fatigue that had plagued him disappeared, and he found himself able to engage in activities he had abandoned, assuming his declining capacity was simply part of aging. The way pecans interact with medications commonly prescribed to seniors creates additional concerns rarely discussed by healthcare providers. The high fat content can interfere with the absorption of certain medications, while the caloric density can counteract the benefits of diabetes and cholesterol medications. Seniors taking blood thinners must be particularly cautious, as the vitamin K content in pecans can interfere with medication effectiveness when consumed in varying amounts. Perhaps no food masquerading as a nut presents more danger to seniors than peanuts, which botanically belong to the legume family alongside beans and peas. This distinction matters because peanuts carry unique risks not found in true tree nuts, risks that become particularly pronounced in aging bodies with diminished detoxification capabilities. The widespread consumption of peanuts and peanut products makes this threat especially insidious, hiding in everything from Asian cuisines to energy bars marketed to health-conscious seniors. The most serious concern surrounding peanuts involves aflatoxin contamination, a problem that occurs when certain molds grow on peanuts during storage and processing. These toxins, classified as Group 1 carcinogens by international health organizations, rank alongside asbestos and tobacco smoke in their potential to cause cancer. The liver bears the primary burden of processing these toxins, and for seniors whose liver function has already declined by 30 to 40% from peak capacity, this additional toxic load can prove devastating. Research examining aflatoxin exposure reveals that chronic low-level consumption, exactly what occurs with regular peanut consumption, correlates strongly with liver cancer development. The risk amplifies in seniors because their diminished liver function allows these toxins to accumulate rather than being efficiently processed and eliminated. Each spoonful of peanut butter, each handful of ballpark peanuts, adds to a cumulative burden that the aging liver struggles to manage. The inflammatory response triggered by peanuts extends beyond aflatoxin concerns. Peanuts contain high levels of omega-6 fatty acids without the balancing omega-3 content found in beneficial nuts. This imbalance promotes systemic inflammation that manifests as joint pain, cognitive fog, and cardiovascular stress. For seniors already managing arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, regular peanut consumption can significantly worsen symptoms and accelerate disease progression. Eleanor, a 74-year-old retired teacher, had eaten peanut butter toast every morning for 2 decades, considering it a wholesome and economical breakfast choice. She attributed her increasing joint pain, mental fog, and digestive issues to normal aging until comprehensive blood work revealed elevated liver enzymes and markers of systemic inflammation. Her physician suggested eliminating peanuts as an experiment, though neither expected dramatic results. The changes that followed surprised everyone involved. Within 3 months of switching to almond butter, Eleanor experienced significant reduction in joint pain, improved mental clarity, and normalized liver function tests. Her energy levels increased noticeably, and the digestive issues that had plagued her for years resolved completely. What she had accepted as inevitable aging symptoms were actually responses to daily toxin exposure from a food she believed was supporting her health. The lectin content in peanuts presents another challenge for aging digestive systems. These proteins can damage the intestinal lining, increasing permeability and allowing partially digested proteins and toxins to enter the bloodstream. This condition, often called leaky gut, triggers immune responses that manifest as inflammation, food sensitivities, and autoimmune reactions. Seniors, whose intestinal walls have already thinned with age, face particular vulnerability to lectin damage. Transitioning from these problematic choices to truly beneficial nuts requires understanding how specific nutrients support aging bodies rather than stress them. Pistachios emerge as one of the most valuable options for seniors, offering a unique combination of protein, fiber, and antioxidants in proportions that specifically address age-related health challenges. Unlike the nuts discussed previously, pistachios actively support the body systems that typically decline with age. The protein content in pistachios deserves special attention because it provides all essential amino acids in proportions that support muscle protein synthesis. This process, crucial for maintaining muscle mass and strength, becomes increasingly inefficient with age. Sarcopenia, the progressive loss of muscle tissue that affects virtually all seniors, accelerates without adequate protein intake. A single ounce of pistachios delivers 6 grams of complete protein, nearly matching the content found in an egg while providing additional nutrients that eggs lack. The mechanism by which pistachios support muscle maintenance extends beyond simple protein provision. The amino acid leucine, particularly abundant in pistachios, acts as a molecular switch that activates muscle-building pathways even in older adults whose bodies have become resistant to protein signals. Research demonstrates that seniors consuming pistachios regularly show improved grip strength, walking speed, and overall functional capacity compared to those who do not. The fiber content in pistachios provides benefits that multiply in aging bodies. Soluble fiber slows glucose absorption, preventing the blood sugar spikes that stress the pancreas and damage blood vessels. Insoluble fiber supports digestive health, combating the constipation that affects up to 40% of adults over 65. The combination helps maintain healthy gut bacteria populations, which influence everything from immune function to mood regulation. Mary, a 70-year-old retired librarian, began incorporating a handful of pistachios into her afternoon routine after learning about their benefits for blood sugar control. She had been struggling with energy crashes in the late afternoon that left her reaching for sugary snacks, creating a cycle of spikes and crashes that left her exhausted. The pistachios provided sustained energy without the dramatic fluctuations, and she noticed improvements in her mood and cognitive clarity that extended well beyond the immediate effects. The antioxidant profile of pistachios includes compounds rarely found in other nuts, particularly lutein and zeaxanthin, carotenoids that concentrate in the retina and protect against age-related macular degeneration. This leading cause of blindness in seniors often develops silently over decades, making preventive nutrition particularly valuable. Regular pistachio consumption has been shown to increase macular pigment density, providing measurable protection against vision loss. The potassium content in pistachios exceeds that of most other nuts, providing crucial support for blood pressure regulation in seniors whose sodium sensitivity has increased with age. A single serving delivers nearly 300 milligrams of potassium while containing minimal sodium when consumed unsalted. This mineral balance helps counteract the effects of dietary sodium, reducing strain on the cardiovascular system and supporting healthy kidney function. Almonds have earned their reputation through centuries of cultivation and consumption, but modern nutritional science reveals benefits that ancient civilizations could never have understood. The specific combination of vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy fats creates a synergistic effect that addresses three critical areas of concern for aging bodies. Each nutrient amplifies the effects of the others, creating protective mechanisms that exceed what any single compound could achieve alone. The vitamin E content in almonds surpasses virtually every other commonly consumed food, delivering over 7 milligrams per ounce. This fat-soluble antioxidant concentrates in cell membranes throughout the body, providing protection exactly where oxidative damage occurs most frequently. For seniors, whose cellular repair mechanisms have slowed, this membrane protection becomes essential for maintaining cognitive function, preserving vision, and preventing the DNA damage that accumulates with age. Susan, a 70-year-old retired architect, had always kept almonds in her purse as a convenient snack, never realizing their profound impact on her health until a bone density scan revealed early signs of osteoporosis. Rather than immediately accepting pharmaceutical intervention, she researched nutritional approaches and discovered that the magnesium in almonds plays a crucial role in bone mineralization. She increased her daily intake to a measured handful while adding weight-bearing exercise and vitamin D supplementation through sensible sun exposure. The follow-up scan 6 months later showed not just a halt in bone loss progression but actual improvement in density measurements. Her physician expressed surprise at the results, having rarely seen nutritional intervention produce such measurable changes in someone her age. The magnesium from almonds had provided the essential cofactor needed for calcium to properly integrate into bone matrix, while the protein content supported the formation of new bone tissue. The cardiovascular benefits of almonds manifest through multiple pathways that become increasingly important as blood vessels lose elasticity with age. The monounsaturated fats reduce oxidation of LDL cholesterol, preventing the formation of arterial plaques that restrict blood flow. Simultaneously, the fiber binds with bile acids in the digestive system, forcing the liver to use cholesterol to produce more bile, thereby lowering circulating cholesterol levels. The combination of effects creates measurable improvements in cardiovascular health markers within weeks of regular consumption. Research tracking older adults over extended periods reveals that those consuming almonds regularly experience significantly lower rates of cognitive decline compared to those who do not. The mechanism involves not just the antioxidant protection from vitamin E but also the improvement in blood flow to the brain resulting from better cardiovascular health. The brain, which consumes 20% of the body's oxygen despite representing only 2% of body weight, depends critically on efficient blood delivery, making cardiovascular health inseparable from cognitive preservation. The protein quality in almonds provides particular value for seniors struggling to maintain adequate protein intake due to decreased appetite or dental issues. Unlike animal proteins that can be difficult to chew and digest, almonds can be ground into flour, blended into milk, or processed into butter, providing versatile options for consumption. The amino acid profile supports not just muscle maintenance but also the production of neurotransmitters essential for mood regulation and cognitive function. Brazil nuts occupy a unique position in the nut kingdom, functioning more like a precisely dosed supplement than a casual snack. Their selenium content exceeds any other food source by such a margin that a single nut can provide more than the entire daily requirement for this essential mineral. For seniors, whose absorption of minerals often decreases due to reduced stomach acid production and intestinal changes, this concentrated source becomes particularly valuable. Selenium functions as a cofactor for glutathione peroxidase, one of the body's most powerful antioxidant enzymes. This enzyme protects cells from oxidative damage that accumulates with age, contributing to everything from wrinkled skin to neurodegenerative diseases. The declining production of glutathione with age makes dietary selenium increasingly critical for maintaining cellular defense systems that younger bodies produce more readily. Robert, a 68-year-old grandfather, had been experiencing persistent fatigue that he attributed to normal aging until blood work revealed suboptimal thyroid hormone levels. His physician explained that the thyroid gland requires selenium to convert the inactive thyroid hormone T4 into the active form T3 that cells can actually use. Without adequate selenium, the conversion process slows, leading to symptoms that mimic hypothyroidism even when the thyroid gland itself functions normally. The simple addition of 2 Brazil nuts daily to Robert's morning routine produced remarkable changes within a month. His energy levels improved dramatically, the mental fog that had plagued his mornings lifted, and his family noticed he seemed more engaged and present in conversations. The transformation illustrated how a single nutrient deficiency can create cascading effects throughout the body, particularly in the interconnected systems that maintain energy production and cognitive function. The cancer-protective properties of selenium become increasingly relevant with age, as the accumulated DNA damage from decades of living raises cancer risk substantially. Selenium supports DNA repair mechanisms while also promoting apoptosis, the programmed cell death that removes damaged cells before they can become cancerous. Studies examining populations with different selenium intakes reveal significantly lower cancer rates in those with adequate selenium status, particularly for prostate, lung, and colorectal cancers that commonly affect seniors. The immune support provided by selenium extends beyond cancer prevention to include enhanced resistance to viral infections and improved vaccine responses. Seniors, whose immune systems have undergone age-related decline called immunosenescence, often respond poorly to vaccines and suffer more severe consequences from common infections. Adequate selenium status improves antibody production and T-cell function, providing measurable improvements in immune competence that can mean the difference between a mild illness and a life-threatening complication. However, the potency of Brazil nuts requires careful consideration of dosing. Excessive selenium intake can lead to selenosis, characterized by hair loss, nail brittleness, and neurological symptoms. The safe and effective dose for seniors remains 1 to 2 nuts daily, providing optimal benefits without approaching toxic levels. This precision in consumption represents a departure from the casual handful approach appropriate for other nuts, requiring mindful attention to quantity. Among all nuts available to seniors, walnuts stand alone in their comprehensive support for aging bodies and minds. Their unique content of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid, provides anti-inflammatory benefits that most other nuts cannot match. This particular fatty acid converts partially to EPA and DHA, the same omega-3 compounds found in fish oil, though the conversion rate remains limited. Nevertheless, for seniors who do not consume fish regularly, walnuts provide crucial omega-3 intake that would otherwise be missing from their diets. The brain protection offered by walnuts extends far beyond their omega-3 content. The combination of vitamin E, melatonin, folate, and polyphenol creates multiple layers of neuroprotection that address different aspects of brain aging. The polyphenol reduce inflammation in brain tissue, vitamin E protects neural membranes from oxidative damage, folate supports methylation processes essential for neurotransmitter production, and melatonin regulates sleep cycles that become increasingly disrupted with age. Mary, a 72-year-old retired teacher, had begun noticing troubling memory lapses that frightened her deeply. She would enter rooms forgetting her purpose, misplace items constantly, and struggle to recall names of acquaintances she had known for years. Rather than passively accepting what seemed like inevitable decline, she researched nutritional interventions and discovered the extensive evidence supporting walnut consumption for cognitive preservation. She began adding a quarter cup of walnuts to her morning oatmeal, creating a ritual that provided both nutritional and psychological benefits. The act of preparing this brain-protective breakfast gave her a sense of agency over her cognitive health, while the nutrients themselves began their protective work at the cellular level. Within 3 months, she reported clearer thinking, improved word recall, and most remarkably, better quality sleep that left her feeling genuinely rested upon waking. The sleep benefits of walnuts deserve particular attention given that up to 50% of seniors experience chronic sleep disturbances. The natural melatonin content in walnuts provides a gentle sleep-promoting effect without the grogginess associated with pharmaceutical sleep aids. Combined with the magnesium that relaxes muscles and calms the nervous system, walnuts consumed in the evening can improve both sleep onset and sleep quality, leading to better cognitive function and emotional regulation during waking hours. The cardiovascular protection from walnuts manifests through improvements in endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to dilate and contract appropriately. This function declines significantly with age, contributing to hypertension and reduced blood flow to vital organs. Regular walnut consumption improves endothelial function measurably, reducing blood pressure and improving circulation throughout the body. For seniors managing multiple cardiovascular risk factors, this improvement can reduce the need for pharmaceutical interventions. Implementing an optimal nut consumption strategy requires understanding both timing and preparation methods. Raw or dry roasted nuts provide maximum nutritional value, while oil-roasted or heavily salted varieties introduce unnecessary fats and sodium that counteract potential benefits. Soaking nuts overnight can improve digestibility for seniors with sensitive digestive systems, while grinding them into flour or butter provides options for those with dental challenges. The timing of nut consumption affects their impact on blood sugar, satiety, and sleep. Morning consumption of almonds or pistachios provides sustained energy throughout the day while supporting muscle protein synthesis when the body is most receptive. Afternoon Brazil nuts support thyroid function and provide antioxidant protection during peak oxidative stress hours. Evening walnuts promote restful sleep while providing overnight neuroprotection during the critical brain restoration processes that occur during deep sleep phases. Portion control remains essential even with beneficial nuts, as their caloric density can contribute to weight gain if consumed excessively. A practical approach involves pre-portioning daily servings into small containers, removing the temptation to overconsume while ensuring consistent intake of protective nutrients. This measured approach transforms nut consumption from a random snacking behavior into a deliberate health intervention with measurable benefits for aging bodies and minds.